people know who Atlassian is? Or... Excellent, more people than Opensocial, I love that, thank you. So we make collaboration tools and development tools. Our collaboration tools, obviously large enterprise wikis, etc. So one of the things I wanted to talk today about was the development tools, so something a little bit different. Collaboration tools, obviously a wiki, you have friends and other people, so it can be implemented as a social network relatively easily. But I wanted to talk about development tools and how we're trying to make them also into a social network. So if you think about developers very quickly, they're people who work in teams, collaborate on some sort of shared objects, and they generate a whole lot of activity, right? So if we have a look at who they are, briefly, down here you can see that the shared objects they work on, obviously source code, issues, builds, projects, some sort of documentation, specs, these things as developers we're all used to. And the activity they generate, obviously things like commits, build failures, comments, new tasks, new issues, that sort of thing. So we thought it'd be really interesting if we take all of this activity in these shared objects and try to put them into some sort of a social context using Opensocial. So the other part for us that's important is today pretty much all your enterprise apps are basically silos. So we also look at Opensocial, besides being the social technology, as a very interesting technology stack for connecting a lot of enterprise applications in a very, very simple, standard way. So in this case, your applications, in this case, one application might be your source code, for looking again at development network, your issues, tasks, projects, and let's assume you store your documentation in some sort of wiki. These are all at the moment relatively disconnected. So what we can see is with Opensocial, we can do some things where we can actually connect all of the applications together. So we can put pieces of the wiki into the issue tracker, or pieces of source code, for example, into the issue tracker. And then we can do things like get a complete view of your project. So instead of just seeing the tasks and then moving to another server to see the source code, we can start integrating all of these different things together so you get a single activity stream across everything. No matter which set of tools you're using, you can comment, interact, and things like that. And another scenario I'm going to show you very briefly is managers. So let's assume the developer in your development team works inside Jira or some other issue tracker as their center point. Most managers spend a lot of time doing email. Most of the time, all their time, doing their work in email. So Gmail actually gives us a really nice Opensocial container to start pulling various development tools into that the manager might want to look at in order to see what's going on, viewing activity, status, and creating issues and that sort of thing, doing their development management. So we've launched this site. If you want to get more detail, there's a whole bunch of movies, screenshots, and other stuff at atlassian.com/Opensocial. If you want to find out about Opensocial in the enterprise, it's a good place to have a look. So let me give you the briefest of brief demos. So this is Jira 4, which is in beta as of Monday, running with a whole bunch of different things inside it. So for those familiar with Jira, you'll be relatively familiar with things like these charts. What you won't be familiar with is that you can now obviously move them around and do a whole bunch of things. Everything you see on this page is an Opensocial application or a gadget. So they're all running here. The different colours I've used in this case to connote that these things come from Confluence. So I can do quick nav against Confluence and go navigate to my wiki pages. Similarly, I can see my code reviews, and these gadgets themselves are obviously just standard Opensocial clocks and weather widgets and that sort of thing. And things like the build data I can get here, so I can see when the build is failing. It will refresh itself. So one's failing, one's passing. So this is the sort of thing you can get. And similarly, like everyone else, we have a directory. But remember, these are all development tools, and all the tools I'm interacting with here for developers. So if you want to get charts, you can here see I can get charts from my build system, charts from my issues, and go get them from source control, that sort of thing. So trying to bring all your development tools together, and obviously because it's an open standard, XML-based, other development tools can implement gadgets, and we can pull them in as well. And all of this, if I had more time, I could show you this entire dashboard running in iGoogle. So if you have Jira running publicly, we support OAuth and everything else, and because these are all gadgets, you can then pull them out and put them into a different portal container the same way. So more interesting here, you sign out of Dave's email, is if we think about the job of a manager, so in this case we've created a fake Google mail account. I apologise to Google for using some of your resources, of a pseudo development manager. We do the same thing. Everyone has multiple Gmail accounts, it's allowed, right? So this pseudo development manager has a development environment, an email environment that actually involves a whole bunch of different gadgets. So for those that don't know, Gmail is actually an entire sort of social container. You can put gadgets into it. You have lists of friends. You can make a network. So if you're using, for example, Google Enterprise apps, you can have all of your colleagues in there, and then you can create social groups in apps for the enterprise, whatever the code name is. But what you'll start to see is things like, for example, this is a developer. Obviously, Mark's a little lazy because he's just emailed me and said, here's a bug, which doesn't really help me. But what I can now do is inside Gmail, I can actually create the issue from inside here. And I can obviously go and create it. It's gone and created in Jira. In here, I have the issue. I can go look at it, or I can just email him back and say, here's the issue. We can pull in all sorts of gadgets. So we have your social network from Confluence coming in. That's the sort of standard Facebook-like social network, if you like. You can see you can mash it up with Twitter and other things. And then this is a particular gadget here that shows you, this gadget here is actually running with the social data from Gmail. So I have Jonathan and Tim actually added as friends, so I will only see their activity in this particular gadget in Gmail. It uses a canvas view, so it'll open up. It would show me Jonathan's activity if I logged in there. But the interesting thing I always think is you can sort of chat over the top, so I can have all these different services running in Gmail. And if I had more time and Wave was public, I would give you a demo of the same thing running in Wave.
The paper that you just, or the URL, the new website that you launched, it gives details on this.
Yes, there's movies of all this in much more detail, Atlassian.com/Opensocial.